guys, this is just a little mini video for help on just a couple off of 1.3. So it's on permutations. So I don't like these to be more than 5 minutes. It's just so if you're at home, either for distance learning or it's your hybrid off day, just so that you have something to look at. So I am going to do one of each type, and I am going to save it, and I will put it in Schoology. I'm just waiting for my spinning wheel there to stop so I can get started. So also don't forget that you need to check in on every day that you're at home, and there's 2 pieces to that. You need to go into campus and physically check into each of your courses, but to be marked present, you have to interact with each of your courses, and I think some of you don't get that. So for example, for English today, you go check in, but if they had a Google Meet or you were supposed to do a discussion in Schoology and you do not do that today, then on Friday your English teacher will go mark you absent for today. They'll uncheck your check-in. So really make sure you know how to do that. So let's do number 1. It says write out the problem for these first examples. Do not use the button on your calculator. We're going to do both. So when we have this should have a little R on it. When we're doing like 5P2, right? The N is a 5 in that case, and the R is 2. And you always grab that first number and you do it factorial. So you do it factorial. What factorial means is it's a symbol that commands a calculator to multiply all the way on down to 1. Because if we had a really big number factorial, and actually 14 is not very big, on a calculator to enter 14 times 13 times 12, that's a lot. So that has become a command, and it's this exclamation point. It doesn't mean you say it like you're excited. It means multiply on down to 1. And your calculator knows that if you can find your factorial button, and your teacher should have told you how in your notes. On the bottom for the long way, we subtract the 2 factorial. So we would do 5 minus 2, which is 3 factorial. And if we're not using a calculator and we wrote it out, we'd say it's 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And on the bottom, we'd say it's 3 times 2 times 1. Then what happens mathematically is 3 divided by 3 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 divided by 1 is 1. So all we're left with is 5 times 4, which is 20. But because the calculators have been programmed to do this, I want to make sure you know how. I think your teachers have been recommending Desmos. So let me show you on Desmos. You can just Google it. Let me show you how you would do, cancel. I'm going to cancel that. How we would do 5P3 in Desmos. So what there is, when you go Google it, this pops up. There's a little calculator down in the left here that you're going to push. It'll go for me. It's too close to my recording tab, so I'm going to go over to my computer and push that little button there. So, sorry. I have to move it a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm going to move it over a little bit so it'll allow me to press it. All right, so up pops this keyboard, right? So in the functions, you guys are in a statistics class, so you're going to click on statistics. You'll see down here, these are 2 that you're going to be using. So you're going to choose the NPR, and we did 5P3. So you have to enter a comma. No, we did P2, I think. Yep, 5P2. And you'll notice the calculator calculates that 20 out for you. All right, so that's how you do it by hand and on the calculator. All right, so back up here, I'm going to close this Desmos out, and we're going to go do just 2 examples with these word problems here. And let's go hop on to, let's say, number 3. All right, so with number 3, it says for a board of directors composed of 8 people, in how many ways can you choose a president, a vice president, and a treasurer? So the number of people we're choosing from is 8. So we write down an 8. And we're going to be picking, the P actually stands for permutation, but I like to think pick. We are going to be picking 3 of them. And the order matters. So you're going to learn something else called a combination, and then the order doesn't matter. I always like to think permutation, order matters. It spells palm, or backwards it spells mop, and that makes it easier to remember. So you need to go to that Desmos, and I'm not going to do that for you because I just showed you how, but remember you're going to do the 8, you're going to do the function button, be on the statistics, go to the P, and enter 8, 3. And I'm not going to finish that off on purpose. I don't want you just copying down the answers and then going and clicking. All right, so letter number 8. In how many different ways can 4 be selected from 50 tickets? If the 4 ticket holder they each win a different prize. So the order matters, because if you're picked first, you get maybe a better prize than if you're picked 4th. Now, if they were all the same prize, then it doesn't matter whether you were picked 1st or 4th, and that's the next lesson. But for these permutations, the order matters. So we have 50 people, and we're picking 4 winners, or 4 tickets. And again, these numbers get really big, so don't let that be a shocker. Be careful when you enter them on Schoology, right, that you get every digit down. So again, you'd go do that on your calculator, and I will do one more. There are 5 violinists in an orchestra. All 5 of them will be selected to play in a quintet. Quin means 5. With a different part for each musician. So order matters because they have a different part. In how many ways can the quintet be selected? Now watch. When we're arranging all of them, we're not picking a group of 2. We're taking 5 and arranging all 5. If you were to draw it out, you'd say, well, the first part, there's 5 violinists who get the first part. Maybe that's like a solo. But then once Sue gets the solo, she doesn't get the other part. So there's only 4 to pick from. And then there's only 3 left, and then 2 left, and then there's just 1 person at the end, but while you're left, you get the 5th part, right? You multiply all of these numbers, but you'll notice that instead of going to your calculator and doing 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that's really 5 factorial. So you can go to your calculator and do either one of those. But you notice if it had said 27 different parts with 27 different people, you don't want to go to your calculator and go 27 times 26 times 25 times 24, which is why this symbol was invented, so that we can program that into a calculator. So here's what you really need to get out of it. You need to know how to use your calculator. You also need to know that if you're taking a small group, like if I'm going to take 8 people and pick 2 of them to be president and vice president, then I do the 8P2. If I'm going to take 8 people and have them line up at my door, all 8 of them, then I do 8 factorial. So this is when you're doing all of them being arranged. This is when you're picking 2 out of 8. All right, and that's it for help on 1.3. Have a good one.